Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, I'd like to talk about plein air painting versus painting in your studio. What is plein air painting? And plein air means a French term for outdoors. Is the act of painting outdoors on location or painting on location. I was participating in a plein air painting event last week, so I spent a few days painting about 8 to 10 hours for a few days. So that experience is still kind of fresh in my mind. So I thought I'll do a video to compare the difference between painting on location and what I like about it, what are the difference between painting on location and painting in the studio. These are the photos that I took along the Columbia Gorge for the event. And I didn't take any video because just didn't want to carry a video camera with me. The photos are pretty nice color, beautiful day, but what you don't see is the wind. It's actually quite windy that day, and in that morning it was raining. It took me a while to find this location, and when I found this, and it's actually still pretty windy, but it was still not as windy as the on the top of the mountain. So this is actually pretty close by the river. I decided to set up my easel along this pond. A lot of people ask, so what is the benefit of painting on location? Why not just take a photo and just painting at the comfort of your studio? So if it's raining, you don't have to worry about the rain. If it's windy, you don't have to worry about the wind. If it's too hot, you don't have to worry about all that. And that is true to a certain extent. But then sometimes painting is not about being comfortable. When you're painting on location, you can actually feel the sun is constantly changing, the lights moving, everything is changing, nothing stays constant. But the experience of painting on location is next to none. I mean, there is nothing like that. You cannot get that when you're painting in your studio because especially when you are relying on just a reference photo, the reference photos don't change. The reference photos stays consistent. The light doesn't change, and you're at the comfort of your studio. So in that regard, there isn't that urgent, the fleeting lights that you have to kind of try to capture. So it's quite different, and also being in that moment to just have all that elements, the sunlight, the wind, the bugs. I mean, whatever, everything. Those are the things that affects affects me. Like I'm constantly reminding myself, oh, this is gonna change. Gotta paint fast. Gotta keep moving. So that kind of helped me to make quick decisions. That helps to not linger too long, just to rely on just mostly trust your feeling, trust your gut feeling. So those are the things that, as doing plein air painting, that is that you just don't get in the studio painting. In addition to that, because you are under this condition, I am so immersed in that painting, that what do you call those? That float stage. I felt like every time when I'm doing plein air painting, I am in that flow stage where I don't think about anything. The only thing I need to worry about is making sure the painting is not blown away. I was so immersed in that painting, and I try to capture that. I try to get that in my plein air painting, and when I'm at my studio, since it doesn't have all those all those changing agents. So I tend to limit I try to kind of set a time frame for the type of painting that I do and how much time I would have if I'm painting this on location. So this way, I can still maintain that kind of mentality, and at the same time, I don't get too comfortable, and this will actually affect my mark making, the way I put down the brush strokes, and it also just to keep that same momentum that I have if I'm painting on location. And so hopefully I would be able to produce the type of painting, or a painting that has the quality of a plein air paint feel to that. That is the major differences between plein air painting and studio painting. This studio painting, I sped up the entire process about 300%. So you can see some of the mark making that I'm working on right now is I try to keep that same idea. Speed up, don't be more bold with the mark making, and don't try to go back and forth and as if I'm really painting on location. I think I set the time for this painting about, I'd say about an hour. And I believe this was a 12 by 16 painting. And it's because it's a similar subject matter compared to my plein air painting. It's all water. So the key to painting water is actually break this down to just three values. It's the same. It doesn't change what subject. I still try to simplify this into three values and work from light to dark. So what I'm working on right now is my light tone. And the first wash was the water, the lightest part of this painting, and these are the bottom composition was the cool light water, and then the top part was actually the trees in the light, and then now I'm painting the shadow part of it. So right now it looks like it's really dark, but with watercolors, it will get lighter once it dries. So I actually take that into consideration. So as you can see, some of these mark makings I try to keep that like the way I would do my plein air painting, and I don't worry about the small shapes, and always work from the big shape first, makes my color, and then makes a big puddle, and then just kind of vary them a little bit. So this is actually the light part. I'd say this is the light the light mid-tone, and this is the part. It's actually part of the water, and actually this is the part where it's under the water, but it's also lit by the sun. So that's kind of tricky because I have to kind of keep the values, make sure the values are consistent even within that same values. I try to keep and also vary the mid-tone value a little bit. You can see some of the blue, and then you have some green, but they all kind of part of that same family. And then with the way the watercolor, when it's wet, it's actually much easier to get soft edges. You can see some of the edges in the upper part where right after I put down the mid-tone or the light tone, I go right into it with a mid-tone, so that way I can take advantage of the wet paper to give it that soft edges. And so this is something that I'm gonna be honest, if I'm painting this on location, I would have a lot more challenging things to worry about. I have to worry about like the sun. If the sun is hitting my painting, chances are the paper. I mean, the paint's gonna dry a lot faster. I won't have the luxury of taking my time and whatever I get, and that's what I get. But since I'm painting this on in my studio, and I could feel like, yeah, I have a little bit more time, and you can see some of the edges. I still have quite a bit of time to get those secondary, smaller, darker shape, and then the edges are still softer because if it's on location, sometimes if it's on a really hot day like this past week and you don't have that kind of time, and if you look carefully at my Plein Air painting compared to my studio paint, you'll notice the edges a lot more harder. And so this studio painting, you could see the some of the edges are much softer, and because of that, it's just the way you just have to work with what you got there. So at this point, the block ends are pretty much done. I have my light tone, mid tone, and dark tone pretty much block in, and so this is the same process I would be doing if I'm doing this in plein air. The only difference is, I could sit around and I actually these are the shapes that I actually wanted to slow down. I wanted to break this big shape into smaller shapes or add small details. And this is the part that it's actually, even if I'm doing plein air painting, I still would not finish the painting like to the very end. Like I would do some of this process on location, but sometimes I would still take this process back to my studio and do some polishing on the top of that, because I think at this stage the big shapes are locked in, so I don't have to worry about getting the overall feel. But it's much more important if I just take my time and then just design the smaller shape a little bit more. So in this case, once the blocking stage is done, and I actually prefer to do this stage in my studio, where I can take my time and just polish certain area. So right now I'm adding more smaller shapes and darken a certain area, reinforce some of the more intense color. And like I said, sometimes with watercolor, the color, once the color dries, I feel like it wasn't strong enough and I have to push the color. And this is the part that you can, the benefit of painting on location, it's pretty obvious because you can see the color much, much more, and there's a lot more variations on location when you actually on location, I mean, the details are endless. You could just, I mean, you don't have to make it up, and you could really look at that and observe the details. And whereas if you are in the studio, sometimes these little things that you just have to kind of either make it up, or you just don't have the luxury of just glance over. And so like I said, having there are benefit of painting on location as well as painting in the studio as well. So I can see myself just kind of going back and forth. I not that one is better than another. So so right now it's just painting the details underneath the water under, like, so painting water, it's just in many ways it's abstract. It's actually not you. I find this very painting. It's a very therapeutic because I don't have to follow. I don't have to match anything. I just because not. I mean, the rocks in the waters are so random, and I just have to make sure that I indicate some of suggesting. I mean, what I'm looking for it's just I like the feeling of this water. I like the transparency of it. I like the abstract quality of that. So, but in order for people to convey all these quality, I need to be able to suggest, whatever's underneath the water. I need to show what is on the surface of the water, and then what's above the water. So those are the things that I think about. And then when you're painting water, because it's constantly moving, especially the ripples and all those. It's just difficult to pinpoint anything. So because because I don't have to match anything specific, it's just for me. It's just to look at the if I'm painting on location, I just have to look at that and see what's going on, pay attention, observe that a little, and not having to match anything. It's a good thing. It's for me. It's just again just having a good idea where I want to go, and try to enhance that feeling, and also embrace the the mark making. Like the first, I mean, don't linger too much. Don't like. I think it's a good idea to always trust your initial mark making and try to bring those out rather than just erase it. So that's gonna give you your painting a lot more spontaneity. So here I'm actually using a brush to lift out some of the lighter part in under the water. So just to give it some form, but I'm not like matching anything. I just look at what I have, and sometimes I push the color a bit more. Sometimes I break up the shapes a little bit more. But the overall idea is it's here already. Now it's just a trying to not overwork the painting, and this is the part that I have to be careful. And sometimes if I have to lighten a certain area, this is that the rock on the left side. It's actually now it's because I need to lighten that because that's the rock that's actually coming above the water. So there's that part that's above the water, and then the surrounding rock that is that's submerged into the water. So it's just kind of tricky just to find that. And if you're on location, it's very easy to see that. It's actually cool to be able to compare and just to see how far you can go with it. And then because I painted this in the studio, the only reference that I have is just whatever I have, and I don't have any other. And in many ways, I'm kind of locked into by the lack of reference. But if you're painting on location, you just have to just look around. It's right there. So there's the benefit of painting in plein air compared to a painting from the studio. But again, it's not about try to match anything. It's just for me, it's always about getting the feel, getting the feeling of water. To me, that's more important, and not matching my reference photo. Yeah, so you can see when you compare the in between a studio painting compared to the plein air painting, and this is that finished plein air painting, and again, it's the similar subject, but the colors a lot more intense, and then the other one is also similar location as the one before, and this one also you could tell from the reference photo in the beginning. You could see a lot of these similarities, but hopefully this will give you a good idea on how I paint these water paintings. So, all right. So I think that's it for this video. Again, please feel free to leave your comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you very much. Bye bye.